Hey folks, this is Vint with Ads Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to play Shadows of Doubt. We'll be attempting to do a full playthrough today of one of the randomly generated cases. I will be narrating because I've already recorded all of this, so I know what happens, but I'll be anxious to see if you can figure out who the guilty party is before the end of the video. So, with that being said, it's important to stress that this game is still early access, so everything that you're about to see is most definitely subject to change. So, it started one cold night. I was getting out of bed, restless, unsure of what to do with myself. I walked into the kitchen, grabbed some yummy old synth milk. Wasn't sure if it was lactose-free, but I didn't care. I was thirsty. Like I said, thirsty. I became nauseous for half a second, and then threw the milk back into the refrigerator. It'll clean itself, I thought. It's fine. It's fine. My life is great. So I wander around the apartment, looking for something to do. Oh, there's a television. I turn it on. And as one does, you jump onto the couch with your feet, and then crouch. I got bored, and decided to get more milk. Apparently I didn't want any, so I threw it back in the fridge, or tried to. Well, I was bored, so I left my apartment, 302 Gomez, and I decided to go down into the lobby. Walking is for pussies. I can't put that. Anyway. So I decided, with my fingerprint gun and my trusty old watch, I would head into town hall and see if there are any cases for me. Now, sometimes they would call in a murder case, which I would automatically accept, but in this case, I didn't have anything to do. No murder cases. Luckily, there was a bunch of notes on the wall. Apartments for sale. They were too expensive for the likes of me. Then there were these job listings. I looked at them, and I'm like, some of them looked fairly dangerous. Tasking me with bringing armed and dangerous people in? I don't think so. I don't get paid that much. And I kept looking. More apartments for sale. I could afford that one, but nah. Another one for a discreet individual. I wasn't sure about that one either. Now this one looked promising. All I had to do was prove that someone was committing infidelity. Photographs, hard evidence, emails, documents, anything to prove this. It's just a number. So I was like, I guess. Let's go ahead. Investigate infidelity. Apparently, I came up with the catchiest titles for cases. So I decided, why not give this a call? I clicked on my notepad, but I then remembered I have to use the phone. So I decided to dial the number, 877-5273. Not realizing that I could type it in on the keypad, but what did I know? I was new to the game. Meet me at West Parade. I'll be sitting with a gem steeder. I'm assuming that's alcohol. Ask about Lindsay. Make it sharp. Won't be here for much longer, the voice said. Alright then. Very mysterious. So I decided, let's head on down. And what did I find? A dark, cold street, devoid of life. I wandered around for minutes, half an hour. Nothing. I eventually came across an individual with sunglasses at night. Apparently he liked the song. He didn't know anything. But then I saw this strange, suspicious individual run away from me for some reason. I don't know why. Then he started breakdancing. I tried to talk to him. Give me your crows if you want to live. And then he stabbed me. And then I started bleeding. I thought to myself, was this whole job a trap? Was I to be mugged? So using plain old fisticuffs, I attempted to best him. I eventually punched him in the face and knocked him out cold. I had to wonder, was he part of the case? He was carrying a chef's knife, which he used to stab me with, so I took it. I wanted to learn more about this person. His last name just was unpronounceable. Grammaticapala. Very catchy. So, I did what any sane person would do. I inspected the body and took his fingerprint. Never mind calling the police. I mean, he started it, I was gonna finish it. So I took note of his name, just in case he was some kind of informant, killer, assassin, somebody. And here I was, freezing cold, bleeding, unsure of what to do. And when I came up to people, they didn't seem to mind the fact that I was bleeding out of my stomach. I knew I had to stem the bleeding. So eventually I realized maybe I should go seek medical help. Luckily there was a clinic about a block away. So shivering, shaking, and bleeding, I head on in. Luckily there's a vending machine that dispenses all sorts of medicines. Unfortunately, I only had 4 pockets, so I had to get rid of stuff. Yeah, it's fine. It'll go there. Purchased a bandage. Drank it. And I stopped bleeding. As bandages do. So, like any good creeper or investigative person would do, they looked up the guy that attempted to stab me in the city directory. Unfortunately, no such name existed. Which told me either the game just isn't complete, or he doesn't have a home. In which case, this may have been just some random mugging. I took note of it. The fact that I wouldn't be able to find anything else about this person, I had to accept it. So I decided, you know what, let's move on from this and attempt to find this individual again. Maybe the individual that I called is now in the alleyway, waiting for me. So I decided to go back, shivering. It was fine. And apparently I ran across another person with sunglasses at night, and they decided to try and mug me. I then realized this street is just simply not safe. So rather than engage, I attempted to turn the other cheek and run away, hoping that the other citizens would, I don't know, stick their neck out for me, be good Samaritans. Maybe I wanted to see a mob form and beat the tar out of this person. I then slipped on the floor because I was wet. I attempted to jump over the counter of the pizza shop. The owners didn't seem to care. Went outside, realized I would have to do something about this myself, so I punched him. And here that drew a mob, but it had the opposite effect of what I had wanted. They were after me. Shivering, running, hands in the air. I ducked into an alley. And then reloaded the game because this was getting ridiculous. So I looked for the same case. And I called that number. And I got a different street. So, infidelity case. But I'm supposed to meet this person on a different street. Maybe this won't be so buggy and problematic. I left City Hall, and eventually, on Robinson Parade Street, whatever, ran into Da Chung Yang. Please investigate my partner, Mathesio Kanaka, he said. Find out who they're sleeping with. I don't know much about them. I'll write down everything I know for you. Then come find me. I'll pay you a rare sync disc, infiltrator, and 1,300 credits when I'm happy. You might want to take a look around my home. I live at 104 Gomez. Here's a key. I've told Mathapal you've come to clean the place, so don't take too long, or they'll get suspicious. I plotted my route. But before I went, I decided maybe I should purchase a camera. I might need it. If I'm supposed to get evidence of infidelity, a camera might do me some good. I then realized I may have to break and enter, so perhaps a code breaker might do the trick. So, again, I got rid of excess inventory by throwing it onto the floor. Littering, I arrived at 104 Gomez house. I had the key, and I remembered I had a guest pass. But, luckily, no one was home. So I took this time to look around, get my bearings, look for any incriminating evidence. They had a safe, so perhaps there was a code for it somewhere on a post-it note. I found work rotation information, hours. I had to remember that there were 2 people living in this apartment, so I had to keep them straight. Da Chun Yang, my client, and Matthias, the other person that they wanted investigated. So I decided to look through their personal files. Sometimes dates come in handy when it comes to passwords and PIN numbers. Didn't see anything incriminating, but I did take note of where they worked in case I had to find them later. Found boring stuff like tenant agreements and bank statements. Nothing fancy there. A birth certificate. Again, it may prove useful. I pinned it to my evidence board. Walked into their sorry excuse for a bedroom. Clothes all over the floor. Took note of their business cards. I was less interested in my client and more interested in Matthias. I got Da Chen's password. However, I was looking for... you know his name by now. And there it was. Da Chun's year of birth. Luckily, I remembered I had a birth certificate. Where was it? Ah, there it is. 1940, if I'm reading that correctly. Should grant me access into Matthias, whatever. There are usually 2 different things that are locked up. There's a safe and a computer. And they're always the same. Get a passcode for one and you've got the code for the other one. And what's interesting, their work computer email is the same as their home email. So I have access to everything if I can access it to it from home. There he is. Codis. 1940. The PIN number. Checking his email. You have a match. Sounds like he was looking for love in all the wrong places. That's so bad. Oh no, there's something interesting. To Levin Schumacher from Mathaso Kostakog, blah blah blah. This is very important message. I can't stop thinking about you. Oh, that's incriminating. I decided to print that out. That was hard evidence. They knew each other, and they were sending messages to each other. Unfortunately, I didn't see anything else in the computer that could be used as incriminating evidence, but at least I had another lead. But I wanted to make sure that there was nothing else around the apartment that would be incriminating. I decided to print out the other VLove match site emails just to prove that this guy was scum. Into the safe I go. Found some money, which, finders keepers, right? And then I found some kind of commemorative card. But my inventory was full, so, as one does, you eat the hot dog in your pocket, and you throw it onto a stranger's living room floor. And then you just happen to take loose change around the house here and there. 9 o'clock to 1700 hours, Monday through Friday. So now we know the Matheso, whatever, his work schedule. That's going to get tiring real fast. We continue to look around the apartment, trying to find anything else of value. It wasn't looking very good. But as I said before, now we had a lead, we had a name. And luckily, the city directory has all of that information. If you've got a name, you know where they live. It doesn't hurt to look for paper clips and hairpins around the house. Lockpicks are extremely important. They help you get around the game, they help you get around the city, hack security cameras, and the like. Found some synth milk in the refrigerator, but decided, I've had enough for today. I then realized this clip was going on far too long. But I thought to myself, I'm too lazy to edit this. Alright, so I finally got to the city directory, looked up Levin, and realized that he lived at 104 Gomez House. Which, surprise, surprise. Or actually, he lived at 302 Rose Building. Yes, my mind must have wandered there for a minute. 302 Rose Building. I remembered to put the evidence photo in the correct place on my evidence board. So corny. Oh, who's gonna watch this crap? Oh, man. Apparently, Levin was in the address book, so it's someone that they knew on top of it. Levin, question mark. It was all starting to come together. I then realized at some point this clip would have to end. But not before I read all these books. I had a special passive sync skill. Every new book I read gives me 6 credits. Finally, I made my way to 302 Rose Building, which is where Levin lived. I knocked and no one was home. No key was under the door, but there was a camera. And I had to play chicken with it. wait for it to turn away, attempt to lockpick again. And there were 3 or 4 layers to get through. I'd get through 1 layer, maybe 2, and then have to stop and wait for the camera to turn the other way again. But in all, it would take 4 lockpicks just to get in the door, which again is important, why you would want to pick up as many as you can find. I eventually made my way into Levin's home. He wasn't home either. He had a bathroom and a bedroom. But I had to hurry. He could be home from work at any minute. Speaking of which, 1,700 hours. He was due to get off work soon. 16:11. He was going to leave in about 50 minutes. He did have a safe, but unfortunately I did not have the pass key. And I had no idea where the note was in this house. I would have to look and try and find it quickly. Maybe there was a note. Oh. He apparently had some intense security measures. Lasers. I could attempt to find the power box and shut them off, but I didn't think I would have enough time to do that, and then find the note containing the key code. But then I remembered I had bought something from the town hall building, which actually may be able to help me. 6:18, it was getting late. I realized that I had a code breaker. It's a one-time use, but it does the job. "4666. Levin Schumacher." And again, that code would work for both his computer and his safe. For whatever reason, I picked up the thing several times, hoping that I could reuse it, but alas, I couldn't. Handcuffs, commemorative baseball, a baseball cap, and a sync disc. I didn't have a whole lot of inventory space, so I took the sync disc as it was a permanent upgrade that I could apply later. Accessed his computer, remembering the code to be 4666. Apparently he lived with someone else called P. Austin. And quickly I went through his emails. Apparently Paige Austin was in a relationship with Levin as well. Nothing too crazy here. Nothing. Alright, so I decided to visit Levin's place of work in an attempt to track him down, see what he looked like. And unfortunately, work was just getting out. So I had hoped to find a needle in a haystack at this point. So I decided to go back to 302 and wait for him. The door was still open and I knocked several times. That indicated to me that he wasn't home yet. So I waited. While I waited, I remembered I had that sync disc that I took. So I went to the local clinic and decided to install it. And I could choose one of 2 upgrades every time I do this. And this one pretty much allowed me to automatically either get the height from someone's photo or get their salary from someone's photo data. I had a choice to make. Which one would I find more useful? I don't know. The other ones I had at that point were better than this, but maybe it would come in handy sometime down the line. I had one that gave me money for every unique book I read, and I had one that gave me a passive cash income, 10 credits every 2 hours. Very, very helpful. And you can even upgrade them if you find upgrade discs. Unfortunately, there was a side effect. People would be less likely to give you information voluntarily. But since I end up sneaking around behind people's back anyway, I decided to, you know what, let's just do it. Because why not? Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. The machine whirled open. The world changed color. And off I went. I went back to 302 to wait for Levin. He never came. I waited. I waited. I waited longer still. And then a man started walking toward me. He juked and went to 301. I then realized, if this guy is home, then chances are Levin should be home soon. The neighbor was less than forthcoming, quite rude actually. I took a peek in his apartment because I'm creepy that way. I eventually went back to 104 Gomez house, thinking maybe Levin went there. And then an unknown citizen answered the door. I thought maybe it was Matthias, but I didn't know. I attempted to ask their name. He was quite rude, actually. Very unhelpful. I even attempted to bribe him. Nothing. I then thought to myself, wait, I've got that guest pass. I can just walk in and pretend to clean, right? So the first thing I do is, take that milk out of their fridge and just start guzzling. I've been here before, mind you. I knew it was there. Nothing odd about this. The cleaner person going up behind you, full carton of milk. I made a mess, but hey, I was the cleaning person. I was going to clean it up, right? Wink, wink. I decided to put the milk back. Neatly. Checked up on the client. Or the suspect, I should say. My problem at this point, I didn't know what Levin looked like, and I didn't know what Matthias looked like. It was very possible that this person was actually Levin. Levin actually had gone back to my client's apartment. And I had caught him in the act. This was starting to all come together at this point. And I realized there he was. So, what was I to do? I remembered I bought that camera from Town Hall. Why not take a photo? Levin? I took another picture for good measure. But I'm guessing Levin didn't like that and decided to chase me out of the apartment. We played Ring Around the Rosie for a little bit, and then I ran downstairs and tried to get out of there. Luckily, didn't take long to lose him. Went back to Town Hall and started filling in my resolution form. And put the name and surname of a citizen. Unfortunately, I didn't exactly verify what Levin had looked like, so I had to type in the name manually. Lucky for me, as long as you type it in correctly and get the correct person, it counts. But with a name like Schumacher, you have to double check. Then I was asked, can you provide evidence of his infidelity? Well, I remember that email that I had printed out. We knew where the cheater lived. We provided a photo of the cheater. We did not vandalize the place, although we could have. I was concerned about those security cameras. And to finally conclude the case, we had to slide the case file underneath the door. You guessed it, at 104 Gomez, where the perpetrator was right now. Who could have, I guess, got the folder that I slid under the door and hid it from my client. But I guess the game doesn't care about such things. Details. I then attempted to figure out how I was supposed to do this. The act of bending one's knees and looking down at a door. I had no tangible folder to equip. So I didn't know what to do. Hand in case on the bottom. Case submitted for processing. Please wait for results. I provided a photo of the cheater, but somehow that did not register. And I provided infidelity via the email, and that didn't register. But hey, early access. I still got the case solved. I got some credits. And I was due a reward from the mailbox, which was that sync that was promised to me when the case was introduced. Lucky for me, there was a star hovering over the mailbox down below, telling me I should probably go down there to get my reward. What a coincidence. Got my sync disc. Realized, hey, there's a sync clinic right next door. Why don't we pop into the machine? And I could do one of two things. I could increase the time citizens were knocked out by 100%, or increase time security systems are disabled by breaker switches by 100%. Breaker boxes come back on automatically. This would double the amount of time that they would be off, so I took that. Nothing's worse than trying to be on a work computer when you're trying to find information and then the security come back on. So I realized my job was done. Case closed. Everything was kosher. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy this. I have another case that I'm currently editing. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.